to do, kids? My friend has been pregnant of music, of books, of songs, of fun, and she wants to give birth. And she's calling me. She's in labor. Do you want me to go and help her? Do you want me to go and help her? Oh, okay. Yeah, the kids wants me to come and help. And okay. I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now, okay? Okay. What will I do? Okay, kids, don't worry. I have a plan. Before I go, I need to introduce you to all the guests. We have Ayo, she's here. We have Cindy, she's here. We have Peace, she's here. Hello, say hi to everybody. And I'll try and make sure I'm right back. And okay, I'll be back soon. Okay, I'll be back soon. I'll be back.
Hello, everyone. We have to take charge because she's gone. So, welcome, everyone. I'm Big J, and this is Little J. And we're going to start with a song. So, okay, we need to start. Okay. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Now, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please sit behind the tree.
These little children are asking you, please come out so we can play with you. Mr. Sun,
Mr. Golden Sun,
please shine down on me. Shine down on me. Shine, shine, shine. Shine down on me. Shine, shine, shine. Shine down on me. Shine, shine, shine. Shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind the tree. These little children are asking you, please come out so we can play with you. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me, shine down on me, shine down on me.
Thank you, everyone. So, first of all, wait, where's Miss Joan is not back yet. We'll have to wait. But before we wait for her to come back, we're going to ask Chimdi to read her book.
Okay, so my book is called The Elves and the Shoemaker.
We can't hear you.
Are you muted? Okay. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Chimdi. We can't hear you. No.
Oh.
Okay, instead ask Ayo to help. Ask Ayo to come.
So we're going to ask Ayo to come in now. Cold Case Christianity. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Respect the chain of custody. Make sure no one has tampered with the evidence. Jason isn't the only person who's starting to think like a detective. Yi and Hannah decide to examine the skateboard for more evidence. He peel up the corner of the gold sticker and discover the initials LB scratched on the board. Are those Lincoln's initials? You ask. No, says Hannah. Remember, his last name was Zigleton. Yi, Hannah, and Daniel decide to meet with Mr. Warren, the school custodian who has worked at the school for 3 years. He's friendly and helpful, and he asks him about the old shed. It was locked up for years, he says, after we moved our tools to the storage area in the gym. Hannah asks, did you know the skateboard was in there? Mr. Warren nods. I almost forgot that thing. I heard about it from the custodians who had worked here before me. A boy named Lincoln gave it to Mr. Templeton, the first custodian of the school. When he retired, he told the temporary custodian, Mr. Jenkins, about it, and Mr. Jenkins told me. I didn't really want to throw it away, and one day a nice polite girl asked if she could have it, so I gave it to her. Then sometime later it appeared in the shed again, and there it stayed until you guys found it. Daniel asks an important question. Mr. Warren, did you know the girl? What did she look like? Mr. Warren scratches his chin. I don't really remember. It was so long ago. Did the skateboard have the gold sticker when he first saw it? Hannah asks. No. That must have been added by the girl who owned it last, he replies. The following Tuesday, you report what you've heard about the skateboards. Says Detective Jeffries. I think you're definitely onto something with the LB, and you've also discovered something important that will help us answer Jason's question from last week, whether the Gospels were changed over time. Let's talk about the chain of custody. What's that, you ask? A record of who had evidence and when. It's like a chain. Each person in the chain is a link who handed the skateboard to the next person. Jeffrey steps up to the whiteboard again. Let's draw what we know. First, the skateboard belonged to Lincoln. Then he gave it to Mr. Templeton, who later gave it to Mr. Jenkins, who gave it to Mr. Warren, who then gave it to a girl, who eventually put it back in the shed. Now, we know everyone who had contact with the skateboard, and we even know when the sticker was added, says Jeffries. But Jason looks confused. How does this help answer my question about the Gospels? He asks. Well, starts Jeffries. You were wondering if anything was added to the story of Jesus. If we could somehow trace the chain of custody for the Gospels, we could figure out who had contact with them and if anything was added. But why can't we just look at the original copies to see what they say? Asks Hannah. Great question. Jeffries pulls up a chair next to the cadets. He doesn't even really fit in the chair, but leans from it with his long legs sticking way out in front of him. This is a tough case because the original Gospels weren't as sturdy as the skateboards. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to ask, do you have any questions for us?
Yes. What were the initials scratched on the board?
Do you know? I think I know. Does anyone else know? I think it's LB.
Yes.
Okay. Where's Miss Jones? She's still not come back. I think we'll have to move on to the music. So now I'm going to invite Peace to play.
Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be playing Jesus Loves Me. Thank you for listening. That's what I've got so far.
Well done. I really enjoyed that. Well, Miss Joan is still not back yet, so I think we have to move on to the next one. So we're going to invite Chimdi to come and read her book for us.
Okay, so as I said earlier on, the Owls and the Shoemaker. Once upon a time, there was a poor shoemaker who had no money left to buy food for himself and his wife. When he looked round his shop, he found that all he had was just enough leather to make one pair of shoes. As he carefully cut out the shoes, he wondered sadly if anyone would ever come along to buy them. Then he laid out the leather on his workbench, ready to sew the next day, and went upstairs to bed. In the morning, when he went to his workbench, the shoemaker couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of the leather he had cut out the night before, he saw a pair of fine shoes already made. The shoemaker looked carefully at the shoes. The stitches were small and even, and the shoes had been polished until they shone. He was very puzzled and showed them to his wife. Who could have made those shoes so perfectly? Later that day, a rich woman came into the shop to buy some shoes. When the shoemaker showed her the pair he had found on his workbench, the woman smiled. "These are very fine shoes," she said, as she tried them on. "They fit perfectly. I'll give you 5 pieces of silver for them." Now the shoemaker could buy some food. He could also buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. As before, he cut out the leather and went to bed. Once again, the same thing happened. When the shoemaker went to his workbench the next day, there were 2 pairs of fine shoes waiting for him. They were polished so that they glowed in the sunlight, and the stitches were small and even. That afternoon, a rich merchant came into the shop. He liked the shoes so much that he bought both pairs, and he paid the shoemaker well for them. That day, the shoemaker was able to buy enough leather for 4 pairs of shoes. Just as before, he cut out the leather and left it on his workbench overnight, and in the morning he found 4 fine pairs of shoes there instead. The same thing happened night after night, and day after day, rich people came to buy the shoes. Soon the shoemaker and his wife were rich too. One evening, not long before Christmas, the shoemaker said to his wife, "Someone has been helping us all this time, sewing the shoes so beautifully, and we still don't know who it is. How can we find out?" "Well," said his wife, "why don't we stay up tonight and watch?" So after dinner they lit a candle and went into the shop. They hid behind the counter and waited to see what would happen. At last the door opened and in ran two tiny elves, dressed in rags. They went straight to the workbench, picked up the leather lying there, and set to work. They sewed and hammered until the shoes were finished, and they polished every shoe until it shone in the moonlight. Then they ran quickly away. The next morning, the shoemaker said to his wife, "Those elves have been working so hard for us. How can we ever repay them?" "I know," said his wife. "Why don't we make them something warm to wear?" Their own clothes were thin and torn, and their little feet were bare. "I could start by knitting them little caps, and you could make them some shoes." The shoemaker thought that was a very good idea. That evening he carefully made 2 pairs of tiny shoes, and his wife knitted 2 little caps. Over the next few days the shoemaker helped his wife to make all sorts of clothes for the elf. They made some little shirts, trousers, and waistcoats. Finally, the shoemaker's wife knitted 2 pairs of tiny socks. By Christmas Eve, everything stood ready in a little pile. The shoemaker's wife fetched some pretty paper and ribbons, and they wrapped each present one by one. The shoemaker was so pleased with the little shoes he had made that he saved them till last and wrapped them up very carefully. Then they put all the presents out on the workbench and hid behind the counter to wait for the elves. In the middle of the night, the elves dashed in, ready to start work. But when they went to the workbench, all they found were a little pile of presents. The elves looked at each other in surprise. Then they realized that the presents were for them, and they laughed and began to unwrap the packages. When they saw the clothes, they leaped with joy. They took off all their ragged things and put on their brand new outfits. Then the elves skipped merrily out of the door singing, "Oh, what handsome boys we are! We will work on shoes no more." That was the last the shoemaker and the wife saw of the 2 little men, but they never forgot the elves, and they were rich and happy for the rest of their lives. That's it.
Well done! Miss Joan is still not back. I think we have time to do one more thing. I think after the questions, we'll get to do a little surprise. So, Chimdi, do you have any questions for us?
Yes. The second day, the elf went to the shoemaker's shoes. How many pairs of shoes did they make?
I think I know the answer. I'm going to let someone else. Does Ayo know?
Is it 1?
Okay.
What did you say?
1.
No, 2.
Okay. So now we have time for one more thing. We are going to do something really fun. So we are going to do some quizzes. So first of all, we're going to do a quiz about space. So, because we've been reading a book about space, remember Science Geek Sam? We are going to do this quiz about it. So, let's look at the first question. Which planet of our solar system is closest to the Sun? Is it Earth, Mars, Mercury, or Jupiter? Does anyone know? Okay, you can just say it.
Jupiter?
Anyone else?
Mars?
Okay, Ruma, is that your hand up?
No, I just said my answer, which is Mars.
Okay, okay. So since most people said Mars, I'll do that. Okay, the next question. When it is summer on the northern hemisphere of Earth, what is the season on the southern hemisphere? Is it
Winter.
spring? Okay. Who said winter there?
Me.
Okay. Chimdi?
I said winter too.
Okay. Anyone else? Peace? Do you know? Okay. Ruma? Okay, what do you think it is?
Winter.
Okay, I'll click on winter. That's what we all said. Okay, next question. The first stock in space was named Leica, Wazzy, Scooby-Doo, or Ralph. If we came to our 1410 literacy networking yesterday, we did that in one of our quizzes. So, if you were there yesterday, I hope you remember. Aya?
Is it Scooby-Doo?
Okay. Chimdi, what do you think?
Is it Wazzy?
Peace? Do you know Peace?
I'm guessing Scooby-Doo.
Okay, Buma?
Wazzy.
Okay. So now we have a draw, so should we do okay, so since it was a tie, that those were not the right answers. The right answer was actually Leica. So the next question. What is a black hole? Is it a name for a deep cave on Saturn, a black spaceship, a region of space where gravity is so strong that light cannot escape, or the empty region between planets of our solar system?
I think it's a region of space where gravity
Okay.
is so strong that light cannot escape.
Okay,
A region of space where gravity is so strong that light cannot.
Okay, anyone else?
Mom.
Okay, so you guys both said a region of space. Okay, next question. How long does light take to travel from the sun to us? Is it 1,000th of a second, 3 seconds, 8 minutes, or half a day?
8 minutes.
Okay, who said that? Is that
Me.
Aya? Okay. Chindi?
3 seconds?
Okay, anyone else? Peace?
8 minutes.
And Ruma? Okay. So two people said 8 minutes, so that's what we're going to do. Next one. How old is the known universe? Aya? Do you know? Anyone know? Okay, Ruma, you say it.
14 billion years.
Okay, Peace, do you know? Chimdi, do you know?
No.
Okay, Aya? Aya, are you okay? Are you frozen? Oh no.
14
Okay.
billion years old.
Okay, let's go for 14 billion years. Now, What is dark energy? Is it a force from Star Wars? Another word for heating your house with charcoal? A mysterious energy? Or light energy from very distant galaxies?
Light energy from very faint, distant galaxies.
Okay. Aya?
Light energy from very distant galaxies.
Okay. Grandma, do you know?
A force from Star Wars?
Okay, and peace?
I don't actually know any.
Okay, so let's do. The answer is a mysterious energy that makes up 6/8 of all energy in the universe. Okay, next one. Who was the first human on the moon?
Neil Armstrong.
Neil
Okay.
Armstrong.
Everyone mute unless you're answering the question. Anyone else? Okay, so we're going to do Neil Armstrong. Is that? Okay, now, which spacecraft has traveled furthest away from Earth? Is it the International Space Station, the ISS, the Space Shuttle Columbia, the Soviet spacecraft Buran, or the space probe Voyager 1?
Space probe Voyager 1.
Okay, anyone else?
The Soviet spacecraft Buran.
Anyone else? Peace? Okay, the answer is the space probe Voyager 1. Now, what makes Earth travel around the sun? Is it spaghettification, gravity, or a force whose origin is yet to be found out?
A force whose origin is yet to be found out.
Aya?
The force whose origin is yet to be found out.
Okay. Bruma?
Gravity.
Okay. Peace?
Wait, what was the question?
What makes the Earth travel around the sun? Magnetism, spaghettification, gravity, or a force whose origin is yet to be found out?
Gravity?
Okay. So the answer is this. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so we got gravity, we got this one, we got this one, and this one. Okay, so now we've done the first quiz. And now make sure you know your nursery rhymes, because this next quiz is about nursery rhymes and how well you know them. So make sure you know it. And we're going to sing along to them too.
Why do we need to nursery rhymes?
You don't have to, but I know Little J is going to sing along.
3.
Okay,
Maybe.
so let's see the first question. How many bags of wool does a black sheep have?
3.
Okay.
3.
Okay, correct. It's 3.
3.
Okay, yes, right. In Hickory Dickory Dock, what did the mouse do?
Run up
and down the clock.
Run up and down the clock.
Yes, that's good. That's good. You guys are great. Why did Jack and Jill go up the hill? Is it to fetch
the pail of water.
Yes, you guys know your nursery rhymes. Okay, now, this is more of a tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. What is a peck? Is it around 8 liters or is it a handful? This one's a bit harder.
It means a handful.
A
Okay.
handful? It means a handful.
Okay, Good. Where does the Muffin Man live? Is it
Drury Lane.
Yes, Drury Lane. Is Mary's little lamb a girl or a boy?
A girl?
A girl.
Oh, now it's actually a boy. Now, what did Miss Muffet eat?
Curds and whey.
Curds and whey. Why did Dr. Foster never again go to Gloucester? Was it because he was proven to be an imposter, or he stepped in a very deep puddle?
He stepped in a deep puddle.
Okay, well done, you guys. You're great. Well done.
88%.
Okay.
Oh, mine! My baby quizzes! My baby quizzes!
you're
We're
back.
I'm
Finally back.
Oh, I'm back! Guys, I'm back! I gave it a lot of quizzes today. I gave it a lot of fun. Oh, and I gave it to 2 wonderful stories. Didn't you just enjoy yourself?
Yes, he did.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes.
Yes, and so I hope you had a lovely time today. And we'll be back on Saturday. What are we going to do on Saturday? Do you remember?
Count.
Debating.
Couch chat.
Yay.
Little J just said we'll be doing the couch chat. And what will we be doing in the couch chat?
Chatting on the couch.
Oh, really? Is that all? I think we'll be talking about our names. Do you want to know why you're called Chibuman? Do you want to know why you're called Peace?
Do you want to know why you're called Chimney?
Oh, really? Thank you for that. And so we hope to see you on Saturday on Reading with Joan. Until you see you next time, bye-bye and have a fun. Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? You know the
Muffin Man who lives on
Muffin Man.
Not Baker Street, it's Drury Lane.
Okay.
Yes.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, she was white as snow.
Bye.